Sometimes you have data that's a little more complex, or you're trying to compare two different things. You might want to add a secondary axis. In this example, we're looking at how many Hampshire students took classes at the other four colleges, how many students at the other four colleges took classes here, and just for the heck of it, we're seeing how this relates to the SAT scores of the incoming class. So I'm going to start by selecting my data range here. Let's try this as a line chart. And this is a good example because Excel did not really set this chart up the way we wanted it. I want this to appear with years here as the horizontal axis. To fix this, I can right-click the chart, say Select Data, and this takes us to our data source box. And so here, for the category x-axis labels, that's the horizontal axis, I want the labels to be the years. So I'm going to click my mouse in here, and then if I go back here to the spreadsheet and just click, drag, and hold to select these dates, you'll see that it updated the chart in the background. It's now got the years here, so that's a little better. The other thing is it put the year as a series entry, which is not what we want. If I very carefully click just the year here, you'll see that it gets these dots around it. I know that I only have year selected. And if I right click and say delete series, it'll remove that year series from the chart. My other problem here is that because the SAT scores didn't have that much variation in them, I'm not really seeing the change reflected in the chart because the scale of the chart is too big to really see the changes in the SAT scores. So what I want to do is set up a secondary axis for those SAT scores. I'm going to do that by selecting just the SAT verbal here. I'm just going to click it until it gets the little dots around it. I'm going to right click and choose Format Data Series. And go to the Axis section here. I can choose to have it on a secondary axis. And when I select this, you see that it puts in an axis over here, and the range of this axis only goes from 635 to 670, so it's a much smaller scale. And if I look at these SAT scores now, I can really see some changes. Granted, this is a little exaggerated, but it's a way to actually bring out changes that might not otherwise be very noticeable. And I can see that the number of Hampshire students taking classes at the other colleges kind of followed the SAT scores for those couple years.